Hello everyone, welcome back to PMOJ. I'm your host Pravesh. Let me begin this with asking you, have you ever started a project feeling pumped, but then things get messy and you're not sure what to do next? Or maybe your team is working hard, but somehow the pieces just don't fit together. If you ever felt lost in the middle of a project, you're not alone. Today we are going to break down project planning into simple practical steps. No complicated words, just real talk. So stick with me because by the end of the episode, we'll know how to build a project plan that actually works, avoid common mistakes, and lead your next project with confidence. So first, we'll talk about how to create a project plan step by step, the best practices regarding that. Let's start with basics. How do you make a project plan? Think of a project plan as your GPS. It tells you where you're going, how to get there, and what you need to do along the way. So, first step, if we talk about the first step in this guide, will be to define your goals. That has to be very clear. What are you trying to achieve? Be clear and specific. For example, we want to launch a new website by December. So that should be very specific and clear in your goal definition. Make your goal measurable. Ask yourself, how will I know when I'm done? After this is done, identify your stakeholders. Who cares about this project? This could be your boss, your team, customers, or anyone affected by the project. Write down their names and what they expect from the project. I'm not going to tell you about the details of stakeholder management. Perhaps we'll talk about that in detail in a separate podcast. But right now, I'm just telling you the main things as to what exactly needs to be done for a basic project plan. Once your stakeholders have been identified, list your requirements. What does your project need to succeed? This could be tools, it could be people, it could be money, or information. Talk to your stakeholders to make sure you're not missing anything important. There are so many times like things happen that you actually build a product and then at the end of the project, some stakeholder says that this thing is not actually what I wanted. And this is what I wanted, and then you have to do a lot of rework and delay the project or get people to do extra. So it is very important to check with your stakeholders from time to time as to what their goals are and if they are aligning with what you are actually trying to build. Then break down the work. Whatever the work is, as much as you can, break down into the smallest piece that you can actually think of. List all the tasks needed to reach your goal. Don't skip the small stuff. Like sometimes little tasks cause the biggest delays. And the other thing is to group similar tasks together to keep things organized. So you can have topics, main headings, and then under that you can have those similar tasks grouped in there. Once that is done, like assign roles and responsibilities. Decide who will do what. Make sure everyone knows their job and what's expected of them. Like if you're working alone or then plan out your tasks for each day or week. If you are working with a team, discuss with your team from time to time what their tasks are, where they are with their task, and once they're done with the task, you update those tasks. Once that is done, the next thing that comes in the steps is the setting up of deadlines and milestones. Define clear-cut milestones in your project. Give each task a finish date. Set milestones, big checkpoints that show you are making progress. Use a calendar, maybe a simple spreadsheet, or a tool like Trello or Asana to keep track. There may be some other project management tasks, management tools in your organization which you can use, or even like simple A spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet is actually good enough to start. You don't need fancy projects or MS projects or anything else to make you a good project manager. Thing is that the tools actually help you. They're not there to actually make sure that you actually succeed. For that, you need to make sure that you follow them, the task and everything diligently. Then prioritize tasks. Like figure out which task needs to be done first and which can wait. Some tasks depend on others, so plan the other carefully. Some tasks can be done sequentially, some tasks need to be done parallelly. So identify all those tasks and then um, make those changes in your project plan. The other thing that comes after this is, which is very important, is the risks. Plan for the risk. Think about what could be going wrong. Make a list of possible problems and how you are going to handle them if they happen. There's a whole lot of things that go into making a risk management plan. Set some buffer time for each unexpected issues. Once that is done, then communicate the plan. The biggest problem in a plan, in a project that actually, why a project fails is because of lack of communication. Communication is, no amount of communication, less communication is always a problem. No amount of more communication is a problem. So communicate as much as you can. Share your plan with everyone involved. Make sure they understand it and agree with it. Keep everyone updated as the project moves forward. Then the next thing that comes up in the plan is to review and adjust. This is also very important. Monitoring your plan. Check your progress regularly. If things aren't going as planned, don't be afraid to make changes. Celebrate small wins to keep the team motivated. So once all of this is done, like some of the best practices that we can follow in our plan management is, keep your plan simple and easy to follow. Don't overcomplicate. Write everything down. Don't rely on memory. And then the biggest thing is to stay flexible. Don't be like a stickler to your plan. Plans always change. So you'll have to also change. Projects rarely go exactly as planned. And that's okay. After this, we come to the introduction to work breakdown structures and scheduling. This is also very important. Now let's talk about the work breakdown structure, or as some people say, WBS. Don't let the name scare you. It's just a way to break your project into smaller, manageable pieces. So if we ask, like, what is our WBS? The WBS is like a family tree for you, for your project lead, to put it simply. At the top is your main goal. Below that, you break it into big parts, then smaller parts, and finally steps that are easy to handle. So each level gives you more detail, so nothing gets missed. Now, the question comes in, like for most of the people, is how to build a WBS. Let's start with the main goal. Write your project's main goal at the top. Next is to break it down into major parts. These are the big chunks of your work, like design website, build website, test website. After this is done, divide each part into tasks. Like it could be, for design website, tasks might be like create wireframes, pick colors, and choose fonts. Then break down those subtasks, those tasks into subtasks. Like for example, for create wireframes, subtasks could be like sketch homepage, sketch about page exit. Then assign those work packages. The smallest pieces are called the work packages. Each should be clear enough that one person can do it without confusion. Example for a work website project would be like main goal could be like launch website. Major part could be design website. Task could be create wireframes. Subtask could be sketch homepage. Work package could be like draw homepage, wireframe in Figma, for example. Then next comes scheduling a project. Once you have your WBS, put the tasks on a timeline. Decide which tasks must happen first and which can happen at the same. Use a simple calendar, a whiteboard, or a digital tool, whatever works for you. Mark milestones like design complete or website live to track progress. The next that comes in this is like basics of risk management and stakeholder identification. I won't go into the details, but to talk about the basics, like every project has risks, things that could go wrong. The trick is to spot them early and have a plan. To talk about risk management basics is this possible risks. Think about what could stop your project. For example, like if you have to talk about team members getting sick, software doesn't work, or budget is cut. Access each risk. How likely is it to happen? How long will it happen for? How bad it would be if it gets done? Focus on the biggest risks first. Plan your responsible responses for those. For each risk, decide what you will do if it happens. For example, have a backup person ready or set aside extra time or money. And then once those risks are defined, monitor those risks. Check in regularly to see if new risks have popped up or if old ones are no longer a problem. Because risks also change from time to time. And then the next one is to identify your stakeholders. So just talk about some basics on that. Like stakeholders are anyone who cares about your project or is affected by it. So identify your stakeholders, make a list of everyone involved, your boss, your team, customers, suppliers, and even people who might be against the project. Understand their needs. What do they want from the project? What are their worries? Talk to them early and often. That is the most important thing. Get their inputs and keep them on your side. Explain what you are doing, what has been done, if that matches with their expectations. Map stakeholders' influence. Some people have more power or interest than others. Figure out who needs regular updates and who just needs to know the basics. And then engage and communicate. Keep stakeholders in the loop, share progress, listen to feedback, and adjust your plan accordingly if needed. So finally, uh, if we need to think about the project, besides the basics of the project plan, the things that really are important, the risk management, your stakeholder management. So manage them properly and then monitor your project very much, like on a day-to-day basis. If that is what the project manager is all about. So that's pretty much what I had for you on PM Mojo today. Remember, good project plan doesn't have to be complicated. Start with clear goals, break things down with the WBS, keep an eye on risks, and talk to the people who matter. Yeah. So that is the most important thing. So guys, like if you found this helpful, share it with a friend or a teammate and do like, share, and subscribe. And if you have questions or want to hear more about any topic, just let me know. Send them through the comment section. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time on PM Mojo, where we make project management simple and thank you.